American Sniper has taken the United States by storm, but some aren't impressed. And when actor and friend of Chris Kyle, Dean Cain, defended the film, Alec Baldwin took to Twitter to say this. Help me out here, Dean Cain. What branch of the service were you in and where did you serve?
Be quiet, Alec Baldwin, would have been the response. Did Dean Cain say that? We're going to find out because, thank heaven, he is here joining us live this morning. Dean Cain.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning, guys.
You take the high road out of all this. How do you respond to Alec Baldwin?
Well, my response to Alec Baldwin was no response at all. I mean, that's ridiculous. What he said in that instance really requires no response. So I didn't say anything. I said some things to Seth Rogen. I said some things to Michael Moore. But that's it. Just one tweet for each. And, Alec Baldwin, it just doesn't require a response.
Dean, why do you think it is that this movie, there have been other movies made about the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan. Why do you think this story specifically has people in Hollywood on the left so worked up?
I don't know if people are all on the left in Hollywood worked up. I really don't know the answer. I can only speak to what I know. And I think people are having a problem with it because Chris is considered such an American hero, and his job was to kill bad guys. And they don't think that's okay. When you talk to guys who have been covered by sniper fire and understand the dangers that go with that job, the guy is nothing but a hero. So, when people see the ugly grit of war, they just want to try to be above the pale and go, we don't condone war of any type. And I hate war. And I think Alec Baldwin was sort of alluding to the fact that I didn't serve and I'd asked Seth Rogen to go to war and then talk about it. I've been to war. I've seen what it's like. I was there for a few weeks in May of 2005 in Iraq. I wasn't fighting on the front lines. I was in the front lines. I was on forward operating bases all over the place. But, and war as ugly as can be. But, no, I wasn't serving. That was his sort of snipe at me, but it was kind of ridiculous.
Well, so, this has been, all over the left, attacks on the movie. Rolling Stone, the discredited fan magazine, has a guy who works there, a sad little character called Matt Taibbi. And he just instinctively, as so many on the left have, made this a political argument. Somehow Chris Kyle's life was political. This movie is political. Do you see, is this inherently political?
It makes no sense to me at all. Chris Kyle was doing his job as a volunteer American Army, and then he volunteered to go into the SEALs, and then volunteered to be a sniper, the most dangerous job out there. So there's nothing political about this at all. The guy's a hero. I don't know why they would politicize it at all. It's a true American hero story, and it really deals with what it's like to come back for these men and women in uniform who have been over there fighting for our country and our freedom for a long time. It shows how difficult it is to transition back into this civilian lifestyle, and there's so many of them doing that. It's a really, really important story. I think that's one of the reasons that it's resonating with people.
Yeah, and you wonder how the left can see Chris Kyle as somebody who's bloodthirsty when he's faced with these terrible decisions on whether to kill a woman or a child who have a bomb or a grenade, somebody who's going to do some suicide attack and kill all sorts of Marines who are serving there, and he has to step in and make the tough call. People who were in similar situations, like Rob O'Neill, the Navy SEAL who shot and killed Osama bin Laden, was on our program earlier. He said his life has been saved by a sniper. Listen to this.
Every mission that we went on, I've been on over 400 missions in different theaters of war, and every single mission, snipers did more than just sit there and protect us. They let us in. They found the routes. They found IEDs on the way in. Once we started hitting our targets, they would climb up high, cover our movement, look through doors and windows before we got there. It was not uncommon for us to be silent and we hear shots go off. They had spotted insurgents that were trying to ambush us, and they saved our lives.
So without snipers like Chris Kyle, connect the dots here, Osama bin Laden might not be dead right now. How do you respond to this?
What has Rob O'Neill done? It's a ridiculous thing. There you have the man himself explaining how important the job of a sniper is. Certainly not a coward, as Michael Moore tried to characterize him. Unbelievably brave. It's just a ridiculous thing to say. That's why I spoke up.
And Dean, we saw some pictures earlier of you standing with Chris Kyle. It looked like you guys were out on a range. What do you think the Chris Kyle that you knew once he got back would think about the overwhelming success of the American Sniper film?
Well, Chris was really modest, so, you know, you hear these things about him, oh, you know, he's got a little braggadocio or this. That guy was the most modest guy. You'd say, oh, man, you're the legend. You've done all this stuff. He'd be like, well, I just happen to be in the right place at the right time. I think he'd be a little embarrassed about all of the accolades, about all the discussions. I think he would just rather go out and go deer hunting or something like that than be in the middle of all this media hype, because he was a really modest guy. But I think, you know, it really speaks to the way the rest of America feels that the film is doing so well. And I'm really happy for Taya. I'm happy for Clint and the film. I just think, and Bradley did a great job. So I'm really happy to see that Americans have turned out to support this film.
We're really happy to have you this morning. Dean Cain, our old friend. Thanks for joining us.